Caesar, but to bury him. They've been running people off the court all season long. 18 times over 100 points.
They have a 2-0 lead here. Auburn in blue working from our left. The Sooners in white. Jeff Moore's shot rebounded by Blaylock. Blaylock. Grant with the follow. 4-0 Oklahoma.
Jim, everybody talks about the terrific Oklahoma athletes, and Chris Morris of Auburn, we may see the best athlete in this tournament. He had 36 against Bradley.
That's Moore. Fouled along the baseline. And taking a look at the brackets for this region here in Atlanta, Oklahoma with a victory over Tennessee Chattanooga in the first round game. Auburn in a barn burner against Bradley despite 44 points by the player of the year, Hersey Hawkins of Bradley. Auburn advanced. And Louisville will meet BYU later here this afternoon at the Omni. They were the winners in that. These two games here today will move on to Birmingham into the Sweet 16. So Jeff Moore converting the three-point play with his free throw and a 4-3 lead for Oklahoma. Blaylock driving the lane.
Tim, already Auburn slowed down the Oklahoma offense right there. Oklahoma likes to throw the ball up within 5, 6, 7 seconds. And if Auburn can slow that pace, they'll be in it for 40 minutes.
Chris Morris picking up the foul. Chance to set this Sooner lineup for you. Blaylock and Grace are the guards. Harvey Grant, Stacey King, and Dave Seeger up front.
Tim, Auburn not a zone team, but going with a zone here. They're going to challenge Oklahoma's outside shooting, it looks like, right from the beginning.
Sonny Smith, the Auburn coach, says despite all of the offense everybody knows Oklahoma has, he thinks it's their defense that really creates many of their scoring opportunities. And we'll be watching their outstanding guards, Blaylock and Grace, as the game goes on.
And there's one like right there. Chris Morris a little anxious on the break.
Stacey King. Pushing foul underneath. And it's on Grant.
There is Chris Morris, number 34. People might remember another number 34 for Auburn University, Charles Barkley.
4-3, Oklahoma by 1. Early going here at the Omni in Atlanta. Blaylock watching Terrence Howard for the Tigers. Howard and Derek Dennison are the guards. Taylor, Morris, and Moore up front. Morris.
And here's Auburn running a little bit. Sonny Smith said, we have to run some. My guys get very shaky. It's like a rock and roll game. If we slow down, my guys get real shaky. We have to run some against Oklahoma.
Dennison. King and Moore pushing in the lane.
Tim, the shaved head fellow, is the fearsome Jeff Moore. He missed about 10 games in the middle of the season for Auburn. That enabled Morris to come to the fore. Chris Morris was about 30% of their offense during the time Jeff Moore was out.
Dave Seeger picked up the foul for Oklahoma. Jeff Moore at the line. Senior center from Birmingham, averaging 18.4 points a game.
Tim, I don't want this guy glaring at me. Check this guy's face. I mean, in the shaved head, it's Sonny Liston. Woe Fat from Hawaii 5-0. You remember him?
But he's really just a big, gentle guy, as we discovered yesterday.
And a terrific kid from Birmingham.
Seeger, that won't go. Rebound King. He's got it. 6-5, Oklahoma, early lead. First field goal for Stacey King. Morris, good bounce pass for Blaylock. And Moore with his own follow-up.
That's where he's so tough on the offensive board.
7 points already. King Beautiful turnaround.
Tim, Stacey King, probably the most improved player in the country this year. He tripled his points from 7 to 21 a game.
6'10" junior from Lawton, Oklahoma. Turnover.
The Oklahoma defense again impresses us.
Grace missed, but gets the rebound. Misses again. Terrence Howard. What a big play he had against Bradley. As Bradley trying to set up Percy Hawkins for what could have been the winning basket. Instead, stolen by Howard, and Auburn won it. Ricky Grace. Seeger lets fly.
This is Dave Seeger, three-point shooter, electrical engineering major, three-time all-academic in the Big Eight.
Senior from San Bernardino, California. Dennison driving. Travel called.
Timmy, I think we're seeing already Auburn a little disconcerted by the Oklahoma pressure, and they're going to bring in Johnny Lynn, a senior point guard, to try and combat that.
Johnny Lynn from Hendersonville, Tennessee, replacing Dennison in the lineup for Auburn.
Remember, Tim, Sonny Smith told us he thought he'd start Johnny Lynn this afternoon.
Well, they got him in early here with a 4-point margin for the Sooners. Instant action by John Kaler.
John Taylor, a kid out of the Tennessee mountains where Sonny Smith's from, said, I got this kid. He's the only guy that can understand me.
Talbot, Tennessee. Stacey King. 13-9. Sooners. 15:22 to go, first half.
John Kaler, normally a three-point shooter. I don't think Oklahoma expected this drive right here. Oh, that's very nice. Little alley-oop down, around, wrap around the basket.
Chris Morris picked up the foul for Auburn, his second. Seeger. Another three-pointer. 2 for 2. 6 points for Seeger. Some other scores. North Carolina ahead of Loyola Marymount. DePaul by 1.
And that's the other run-and-gun team in this tournament. Loyola Marymount, of course, a big upset winner over Wyoming in the first round.
Kaler replies.
Kaler is almost a mirror image of Seeger on the other team on Oklahoma, Jim. Both tremendous three-point shooters.
16-12. Oklahoma. King missed everything. It'll be Sooner ball. 14:31 to go, first half. Oklahoma by 4, 16-12. Half, the Sooners top seed here, leading Auburn 16-12. The Tigers second in the SEC, knocked out of the SEC tournament, but coming in with a good win over Bradley to make it here to the second round. Oklahoma, the Big Eight champs, defeating Tennessee Chattanooga in their first round game. And here's how the shooting looks for the early going. Oklahoma 7 of 17. The Tigers 4 of 12. Tigers have turned it over 5 times, however, so only once for the Sooners. Seeger, another three-pointer, 3 for 3.
Tim, the Auburn zone just is not getting up tight enough on Dave Seeger. I don't know if they haven't had the scouting reports out on him or what, but the kid can shoot threes. He made 8 threes against Oklahoma State.
Moore in the lane, King all over him. But the foul against Ricky Grace off the ball. Moore will go to the line. Jeff Moore, the senior center from Birmingham.
Tim, Jeff Moore, this is the 4th year in a row he has been the starting center at Auburn.
Well, he might be center if he has a big game.
He started as a freshman. In fact, 2 years ago, they gave champion Louisville a terrific game in the finals of at the Final 8 in the finals of the region.
19-14, 5-point Oklahoma margin. The Quick hands of Terrence Howard.
Of course, those quick hands the other night meant victory for Auburn against Bradley. He stole the ball from Hersey Hawkins, went in for the clinching dunk.
Grace, make it Blaylock. Hookie Blaylock. Now bear in mind the three-point line here at the Omni is the white circle you can see. Of course, the Atlanta Hawks play here, and that red line is the three-point line for the NBA. 19.9 feet away, the white one for the NCAA tournament.
Tim, Auburn having no problem getting the ball up to half court and getting it inside, as we see here. Moore couldn't get it down, but Taylor did.
John Taylor, 7 points. And Grace to Blaylock, back to Grace. Taylor rebounding.
They are not Auburn is not respecting Oklahoma's shooting prowess outside, Tim.
Terrence Howard, rebounded by Blaylock.
Now they moved up on Seeger a little bit there.
Dennison on the rebound.
Oklahoma not bothering your pressure here early now.
Taylor on a second effort.
Tim Taylor was a 6'10" high jumper in high school. We see him get up on the boards there.
9 points for Taylor. Turnaround by King won't go. Good rebound by Dennison. 3-on-1. He handed it right to Ricky Grace. And they steal it
I
back.
think Grace got away with a travel there. It doesn't matter. Auburn has it.
Moore. No basket. Traveling.
Back and forth, and we're seeing a run-and-gun game. Sonny Smith fighting fire with fire, but I don't know if they can run with him for the entire 40 minutes. Tim, there is Suitcase Sonny Smith. This man coached high school in 4 different states, coached at 4 different colleges before winding up at Auburn. And of course, there's Billy Tubbs, the dry-wit, down-home philosopher from Oklahoma.
Who likes high-scoring basketball.
Well, what Will Rogers said, he never met a man he didn't like. This guy never met a man he wouldn't run it up on.
Harvey Grant got the foul, his second. He gets a rest, and Andre Wiley, number 32, in. And that's Wiley driving, and it's going to be a charge on Wiley.
Tim, Oklahoma must have 7 or 8 steals already, but they haven't been able to convert them at that end.
Wiley against Tennessee Chattanooga had 16 points in 15 minutes. So he is another dangerous scoring Sooner.
From Compton Junior College in California. Andre Wiley, the creator, they call him, Tim. Don't ask me what that means.
All right, I won't. Johnny Lynn organizing the backcourt now for Auburn, calling the play. Bounce pass picked off by Seeger. Stolen back from Grace, but a foul on Johnny Lynn. His first.
I think Andre Wiley might be the creator because he creates fear in the opposition. Take one look at this guy's face, number 32, Andre Wiley.
Auburn has Keenan Carpenter in the lineup, number 30. And a foul charged underneath by Matt Geiger. Against Matt Geiger, number 25, as Sonny Smith has done some substituting here in the last couple of minutes, with Geiger, Carpenter making their first appearances. Dennison has been back in for the last 3 or 4 minutes. to a mixed bag for the Auburn Tigers here with 11:25 to go. Seeger lets fly another three-pointer. That one misses. Rebound by Dennison.
Dennison way up in the air. Tim, I think Matt Geiger counter is in for Chris Morris. Morris has not gotten off here in this game. He's been sulking. He's been moaning and groaning on the court, and Sonny Smith just put him on the bench.
He hasn't got a point. He's a big man, 36 against Bradley in the first round game. Moore turnaround. Seeger rebounds. Interception by Dennison. Followed by Lynn. 22-20. Blaylock on the fast break.
Mookie. Tim, the PA announcer in Norman, Oklahoma, when Blaylock scores, he sounds like the Fraggle Rock announcer. Mookie.
5 points for Blaylock. And now 48-25. Carolina putting it to Loyola. And DePaul ahead of Kansas State, 23-19 in the first half. Loyola Marymount coming off a fine upset in their opening round, but running into the Tar Heels today.
Tim, I'm impressed the way Auburn has been able to handle the Oklahoma pressure. We've heard so much about their defensive press, and actually it's not like a Georgetown press. It's not a tenacious. It's very soft.
Moore missed everything. Tries to tip in again. And finally, Moore picked up. Make it to Taylor.
Tim, here we see the Oklahoma scoring machine in numbers. 18 times Oklahoma scored over 100 points. They had 151 in a game, 152 in a game. Twice they scored 79.5. Dave Seeger, I think it was, said earlier this year, if we don't get 100, we worry what's wrong.
Well, at 24 points, 10 minutes into the game, they're on pace for 100. King.
What a tremendous improvement from Stacey King this season, Tim.
Averaging nearly 22 points a game. He's got 8 in this one.
And he's also Oklahoma's best shot blocker, as we saw there.
We'll get a timeout on the floor with 9:45 to go first half. The Sooners lead it 26-20. At the Omni in Atlanta, Oklahoma leading Auburn 26-20. We still have 9:45 to go in the first half. Tim Ryan with Curry Kirkpatrick, and certainly the story of the early part of this game, the fact that Chris Morris is on the bench with no points.
Well, this is a big surprise, Tim. Of course, he had 36 in the first round. He is Auburn's star. He's their main man. He's scratching his head there, looking forlorn. I think he just has had a tendency all year, all his career, to sulk when things aren't going well. And I think Sonny's got him on the bench to just let him watch a little bit and see what's going on.
Sooners with the ball. Stacey King, turnarounder again. 10 points for Stacey King.
I think they need to get Morris back in the game just to stop King, to give him some competition inside.
Johnny Lynn's pass picked up. Play by Blaylock.
Mullins, the newcomer to the lineup, Tim, from San Francisco. He is the next Oklahoma star when Ricky Grace leaves.
Freshman, 6'2", Terrence Mullins.
Obviously now, Tim, Oklahoma throwing waves at Auburn now to wear him down, try to get him worn out in the first half.
That's Howard. Taylor, three-pointer. 12 points for Johnny Taylor.
I guess Sonny expects if he can keep within breathing range of Oklahoma, he's okay with Chris Morris on the bench, but I'm not.
Charge against Wiley, the second charging call against Wiley.
I'm not sure why he hasn't come back with Chris Morris.
30-23, Oklahoma leads. Derek Dennison, and Terrence Howard, the guards for Auburn. Taylor, Lynn. Actually, Dennison now playing up front. Lynn and Howard are the guards. Dennison, a swing man. Kaler with the hot hand.
Boy, and it looked like an Oklahoma defender swatted his arm on that. That would have been a 4-point play.
14 points for Kaler, 30-25.
If it wasn't for John Kaler, Auburn would be out of this game.
King has found his spot.
Tim, he's automatic from there. He made 40 points against Missouri. After the game, he called himself the Juggernaut. The kid gave himself his own nickname.
But I heard him deny that to you.
Yeah, but I got him to admit it.
Kaler charged with the offensive foul. And there's the confirmation. That's his second. 16 fouls for Auburn.
Okay, here we see Mookie Blaylock of Oklahoma bringing the ball up the court. Tomorrow's Mookie's birthday, Tim. I think he'll be 12 years old. No, not really. He'll be 21 tomorrow, and he's a terrific player.
Mullins off the front iron, rebounded by Kaler, who's doing it all for Auburn so far. Harvey Grant is back in the Sooner lineup. Seeger getting a rest. Terrence Howard, three-pointer. 32-28. Tigers have moved to within 4. 7:20 to go first half. Wiley, this time he is fouled, and it is Kaler picking up his third. Now here's a guy with a hot hand for the Tigers, now in foul trouble. Rhode Island over Syracuse earlier today. 2 upsets in a row for the Rams, and Duke whipping up on SMU 94-79.
Well, Tim,
Michigan. Look at this one here, Curry. And Purdue, another 100-point game.
Big Ten flexing their muscles here early in this tournament.
Carolina really stuffing the high-scoring Loyola Marymount teams thus far.
Of course, we already have a Cinderella eats clam cakes this year, Tim, Rhode Island.
DePaul with a 3-point margin. Sooners failed from the line, still a 4-point lead.
Tim, Sonny Smith had a chance to bring Chris Morris in for Kaler. He brought Geiger in instead.
Lynn fouled in the lane, driving the baseline. Sonny Smith so far leaving Chris Morris on the bench. Grace comes back in. Wiley, who has not been in very long, has picked up 3 quick fouls for Oklahoma. He's a guy that like to bring off the bench.
The creator creates some danger.
Then at the line. 32-29.
This is a strange Auburn lineup, Tim, with Matt Geiger seeing a lot of action. He has not played much down the stretch for Auburn.
Dennison, Lynn, Howard, Moore, and Geiger for the Tigers. Blaylock, Grant, Grace, King, and Seeger back in for Oklahoma. Seeger misplayed it, but he kept it alive. And King is fouled in the lane.
It's interesting how Oklahoma has maneuvered their offense late in the season here, Tim. Instead of Harvey Grant, who, of course, has been a great scorer for 2 years, they get it inside to King in the lane, 10 and 12 feet, and he's been automatic all season.
Johnny Lynn picking up his second foul for Auburn. King at the line. 13 points for Stacey King.
Of course, King has the subtle little rat tail haircut. Shaved head sort of at the back, and then a little tail comes out of that. Tim, what'd he tell you? He got that from Derek Chivers of Missouri, who had a great season wearing that look, and Stacey said, I think I'll go with it.
Yeah, well, I suggested that maybe the barber left it on by mistake, but he said, no, if I take that off, he says, it's like Samson. I may lose all my touch.
Be back to 7 points a game.
4-point margin for the Sooners. 6:39 to go first half. Auburn without Chris Morris staying right with the Sooners. Moore. Interception by Dennison. Won't drop for him. King rebound. When we say without Morris, it's only because he has been benched by Sonny Smith. Harvey Grant.
There's Harvey Grant, the Bob McAdoo play-alike. I'll tell you, he even looks like McAdoo the way he lopes down the floor.
Traveled Innocent, sliding the pivot. Sooners will get it back with their 6-point lead.
Derek Dennison from Douglas High School right here in Atlanta. He was a teammate of Chris Morris in high school.
13 turnovers by the Tigers have hurt their cause, 5 by the Sooners.
Of course, Oklahoma averages 24 press turnovers a game.
Grace missing the 3-point try.
I should say forced turnovers a game.
Terrence Howard slowing it down about the first time in the game, really. Keenan Carpenter. King and Moore going for the rebound.
Tim, Chris Morris, of course, with the 2 early fouls. I can imagine that may be the only reason why Sonny Smith has him on the bench. Of course, Dean Smith, the North Carolina coach, has always had a team rule. Man gets 2 fouls in the first half, he sits down. It may have cost him a national championship when Michael Jordan got 2 fouls against Indiana. In the Eastern Regional, he sat out most of the first half, never got untracked in the second, and of course they were upset by the Hoosiers.
That foul against Jeff Moore is first. King at the line. King looks like he's got the touch here this afternoon. He looks very relaxed and confident. 15 points for Stacey King.
Tim, I count his resurgence from last year. This guy made an 84-foot hook shot in the Big 8 tournament last season. It was called off, waved off by the officials. It was at the end of a half against Missouri. I think Stacey got mad and decided to take over.
He has looked sharp here in this first half. Howard being pressed closely by Seeger. 8-point Sooner lead.
Okay, we can see Auburn cutting some time off the clock here, obviously.
Moore. And a push underneath, I believe, Geiger.
Tim, that soft left-handed jumper of Jeff Moore usually goes down. Before he got hurt, that was an automatic 10, 12, 15 feet out. For such a big guy, he has a terrifically soft touch, but he has not gotten his shooting touch back since he was injured.
Both teams in the bonus. Grant goes to the line for Oklahoma. Moore with 9 points to volley with that carry. Rebound by Geiger.
He has 9, but he's missed a ton of those point blankers. And he is another Auburn player that kind of hangs his head when things go wrong.
Geiger off the iron. And a foul against Harvey Grant. Three on Harvey Grant. Grant right behind Stacey King in the scoring department, averaging 21-3 a game. Wiley coming back in. He's got 3 fouls on him.
He's got 3, and Morris has 2, and he remains seated. So you figure that out. Tim, I want to point out something about Auburn. They're 8 points down, but they're not afraid to get behind. This team was 27 behind to Illinois at Champaign around Christmas time. They came back to tie the game and send it into overtime.
Sonny Smith doesn't look too nervous yet. 38-31. The Tigers coming in here 19 victories, 10 defeats. Tied for second in the SEC. But they are battling Oklahoma. We'll come back. 38-32 Sooner lead.
A basketball tournament, no one can hear you scream. They call it March Madness.
In Atlanta, Oklahoma leading Auburn 38-32. The top-seeded Sooners here in the Southeast region. And so far, as expected by most, the Tigers giving them a battle, remarkably, with Chris Morris on the bench with no points. Well, we welcome those of you joining us now. We are at the Omni in Atlanta. Tim Ryan with Curry Kirkpatrick. 4:45 to go first half. Oklahoma, the top seed, leading Auburn 38-32. The Sooners in white, the Tigers in blue.
Tim, Sonny Smith has to be very happy with his 6-point deficit. He's got Chris Morris, his star, on the bench with 2 fouls. He's decided to let him sit out, obviously, the rest of the half and not get him in foul difficulty.
Mookie Blaylock. Three-pointer for Blaylock. For the Sooners, Blaylock and Grace, Seeger, Stacey King, and Andre Wiley. And the story of the game thus far, 49% shooting for the Sooners. Morris on the Auburn bench with no points, 2 fouls, lifted early, and has yet to come back in.
That's an amazing stat there, right, Tim, right there. If we could have predicted Chris Morris with 0 points and Auburn still anywhere near Oklahoma, it would have been shocking.
Morris with 36 against Bradley in the first-round victory. Moore working the perimeter with Geiger down in the paint. Carpenter, Dennison, and Howard. The other Tigers on the floor. Dennison driving. .3:28 to go first half. 41-32. Oklahoma on top. This is Grace now directing traffic.
Here's the Auburn zone, is challenging Oklahoma to shoot outside. They don't want King to get the ball. Mookie getting there. He is almost stealing the ball. He's causing all kinds of havoc.
Blaylock again. 2 quick buckets. 12 points for Blaylock. Timeout taken by the Tigers. 15 turnovers, Curry, for Auburn, and many of them caused by the Sooners.
Tim, and as we said, Oklahoma forces 24 turnovers a game. Mookie Blaylock is... First, we're going to see Mookie, of course, hit this little baseliner for the 2 points, and watch Mookie cause the turnover here. He almost gets the ball, and it gets it back, and Wiley gets it, and Mookie's going to go in for the other. I was about to say, Tim, that Mookie Blaylock going into this game is 8 steals from history. The record number of steals was set this year in the record one-season number by Aldwin Ware of Florida A&M, 142. Going into today, Mookie had 133.
Well, he's certainly a key factor, and Sonny Smith recognized that in talking about Oklahoma with us yesterday and saying that, hey, their defense is as tough as their offense. Well, at halftime, Jim Nance and James Brown will bring you completely up-to-date with scores and highlights and live tournament updates. Lots of action around the NCAA tournament today. And some Cinderella teams in the upset category making the tournament exciting, as happens every year. Murray State, Rhode Island, and Richmond, the darlings at the moment. Loyola Marymount with a first-round victory over Wyoming, but running into the Tar Heels in North Carolina this afternoon. Last report, North Carolina was beating up on them, and at halftime, look at this, 15 points.
Tim, that may be a J.R. Reed show right there.
Kansas State and DePaul, they've been locked within a point or two of each other right through this first half in the Midwest region.
Of course, DePaul with a late season rush has played as well as anyone down the stretch.
All right, we're underway here with 2:50 to go in the first half. Carpenter, Geiger, Howard, Dennison, and Moore remains the lineup for Auburn. Down by 7.
Auburn looking a little puzzled as to what to do. Sonny Smith waving them toward the basket, and Auburn almost looking like they didn't want to shoot so quickly.
Stacey King Geiger. Now make it Wiley.
And that's 4 for him.
Wiley,
The creator, goes to the bench.
that brings in Anthony Martin, sophomore from Los Angeles, number 50.
That's Tony Martin. Wasn't he married to Sid Charisse at one point?
Only the older audience would appreciate that one.
This is Matt Geiger. He made 22 points at Tennessee earlier in the season in his best performance of his career.
Geiger hits a pair. 5 to 34.
I don't think Sonny expected to have to use him much today.
Seeger.
Well, they're not going to learn about Seeger. That's 4 for 4 from three-point range, isn't it, Tim?
4 for 5. I believe he missed 1. 12 points altogether for Seeger.
He told me once he is no relation to Bob Seeger of night moves fame. Of course, he's putting on some day moves this afternoon.
Approaching the 2-minute mark. Dennison. Howard, Carpenter. Moore and Geiger. The Auburn lineup. This seems strange to be calling these guys without Morris out there. Howard missing. Martin. Ball knocked loose, and it will be Tiger ball.
Tim, you notice Auburn keeps looking to the bench to Sonny Smith. They're not too sure whether to go for the bucket or just hold it back. Cut the clock.
Terrence Howard. Rebound King.
And they obviously miss Chris Morris. Of course, he not being in the game, they don't know where to go.
Stacey King triple teamed in there and traveled.
Tim, here we see Ned Fowler, assistant coach to Sonny Smith. He used to be the head coach at Tulane University before, of course, they dropped basketball in the scandal. An old friend of Sonny, and Sonny's given him a job here this season. He is a defensive specialist. He's held Oklahoma to 48 here in the first half.
Carpenter.
Just my man, Roll Fat, Jeff Morris out on the perimeter with the ball.
Dennison. Three-pointer.
Derek Horatio Dennison. Horatio at the bridge there.
Another local from Atlanta. Race lets it fly. Well, they just take the heart out of you. Hit 3, they come back and get one of their own. 51 to 37. Under a minute.
Any day now, Auburn's going to figure out that Oklahoma can hit three-point shots.
45 seconds remaining first half.
There we see the former head coach at Tulane, Ned Fowler again. No correction there.
Well, I guess we had New Orleans up.
Of course, we said no, and that's where Tulane is, ironically enough. Sir, at last look. Stop the presses. Oklahoma is going to hold the ball for the last 30 seconds. I don't know if these guys know exactly how to do this.
Tubbs is on his feet over there organizing this offense. I'm not sure.
Look, they have no idea how to do this. Should I just hold right hand, left hand, both hands?
Billy would like to walk down the floor, but he can't leave his box here. But now he's indicating that they can do something. There's only 4 seconds left. And they wind up losing the ball. Here's Howard.
Oh, not
right. They didn't know what to do with that. No basket, however. Apparently time had expired. On the layup by Howard.
Tim, I'm telling you, Oklahoma was a fish out of water here trying to hold the ball. They end up losing it. And did he beat the clock or not? I think it'll be fairly obvious. Sorry, no basket.
Well, a somewhat unusual and interesting first half. One thing for sure, Oklahoma with 50. That's the end of the first half. Jim Nance and James Brown will join us from New York after this message and a word from your local station.
Coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Mazda. Bringing performance and value together. That's the Mazda way. Michelin because so much is riding on your tires. And by RCA, the most trusted name in electronics.
It's Oklahoma out in front by 14, but the question for Auburn is where is Chris Morris? From what we can tell, no injury, certainly no foul trouble. He started the first 5 minutes, scoreless 5 minutes for Morris after a 36-point performance on Thursday.
Back at the Omni in Atlanta, Oklahoma leads Auburn 51-37 at halftime. The top-seeded Sooners, you can see that Stacey King off to a great start, 16 points in the first half, but Chris Morris, the star scorer for Auburn, on the bench since early in the half with 2 fouls, no points. Big discrepancy indeed. And Oklahoma shooting at 54% from the field. Auburn only 31, and there have been 7 3-point field goals for the Sooners. 4 of them by Seeger. And the turnover department, that tough defense led by Mookie Blaylock, causing many of those Auburn turnovers. 16-6 it stands. CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
Is sponsored by your local 7-Up bottler. The heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. And by AT&T, the right choice.
We're back at the Omni in Atlanta. Tim Ryan with Curry Kirkpatrick as we await the second half. Oklahoma leading Auburn 51-37. The Sooners the top seed in this region, trying to make the Sweet 16 in Birmingham. And in that first half, late in the half after the Tigers had been staying with Oklahoma, despite having their top scorer Chris Morris on the bench, a 13-2 run by Oklahoma opened up the lead to 45-32, and Auburn has not been able to get themselves back into it. And Curry, obviously they've got to get Morris into the game, and now the question is, what can he do, and how well will he do?
Tim, they not only got to get him back in, but got to have him doing something, a lot of things. He was very ineffective while he was in, did not even take a shot. Jeff Moore also 2 for 12 in the first half from the field. So Auburn's got to establish some kind of inside attack here.
All right, Auburn starts with the ball. They're defending to our right, or Oklahoma starts with the ball, pardon me. The Sooners in white defending to our left, and Auburn to our right. And Harvey Grant lets it fly. Rebound try, and foul underneath immediately.
Tim, you notice who kept that ball alive on the inside? Mookie Blaylock.
Stacey King's first foul. So for Auburn, Taylor, who was their leading scorer in the first half with 14 points, joins Moore, Morris, Lynn, and Howard. Morris.
Okay, that might be it. That might be the one that gets him off. A 3-pointer from Chris Morris. 36 in the first round, now 3 in the second.
36 points against Bradley, and his first points in this game. Seeger in and out. Lynn rebounding. Checked from behind by Seeger, and the Sooners come up with another turnover. Race. 53-40, Oklahoma.
Tim, the oppressive Oklahoma press just continues. They're not going to give Auburn anything easy.
Sonny Smith expected that. He knew that that is their strength. It creates opportunities for their awesome offense. Moore over King. Can't buy one inside. Stacey King.
Here we see it again. Switching, matching, mixing. Billy Tubbs has been maligned for this defense for years, and yet I think this is his best defensive team.
No basket, but the foul will be on Stacey King, his second.
There's the tap away by Grace to King, who gets the easy layup. Another example, the quick hands of Oklahoma, just a little bit too much speed and quickness so far for Auburn.
Morris tried the three-pointer. Blaylock rebounds. Joined us along the way. Remember, the white line is the three-point line here. The red one is the Atlanta Hawks NBA line. No basket. Still a 15-point lead for Oklahoma.
Tim, I think they're going to have Morris bring the ball down the court against this press, make Grant guard him, and Grant doesn't like to guard full court there.
Morris off the front iron, rebounded by Grace.
No second shots for Auburn.
Seeger inside for Grant. Turn around. Auburn with the rebound. Morris for Taylor.
We saw that when Grace pushed off is quite obvious. Ricky, amazing Grace.
His second personal. There's a look at those Sooners numbers. Forced turnovers, 24.3. Howard.
And of course, the Oklahoma defense averaged 12 steals in a game. They had already 9 in the first half.
55-42 Sooner lead. Seeger. Moore ahead for Howard. Howard takes it down the lane. Charging foul called.
Here's Terrence, a nice look off. Lays it in, but the Oklahoma man had position.
Score remains 55-42.
That's the second thing Chris Morris has done this afternoon. Take that charge, hit the three, and take the charge.
Harvey Grant got the foul. He has 4. And he'll come out. Anthony Martin comes in for the Sooners.
Jim, that may be a big call right there. That could have been Morris's third. Instead, it was Grant's fourth.
Don Kaler. Their leading scorer for Auburn in the first half was 14 points. King had 16 for the Sooners to lead the way. Blaylock and Seeger each with 12. This is Moore. Basket counts and the foul on Grace.
That's the little left-handed move inside that we've been talking about. They fake the pass and then they give the bouncer to him. He fakes once and goes left. Terrific move by Jeff Moore.
3 fouls on Grace, and this largely Auburn crowd comes alive here, trying to rally the Tigers. We're only about an hour and a half drive from Auburn territory, and there are a lot of them here in Atlanta.
And of course, the hometown of Chris Morris, and they're waiting for him to get off here.
Moore hits on the free throw line to make it a 10-point margin, Oklahoma. Blaylock runs into traffic, kicks it out to Grace. Anthony Martin.
King. Tim Moore cannot cope with Stacey King's height or his jumping ability. He just gets too high for Moore to do anything with that shot.
20 points for Stacey King. Martin rebound. Had it poked away, but Grace recovers. Laylock runs right into Moore. And it's batted away by Seeger.
Just quick hands again of Oklahoma. Dave Seeger, much underrated player.
Three-pointer.
Oh. And that's 5 for him on the afternoon.
Pass for Morris, who wound up in row 32. Fortunately, had an aisle to run up there.
Ooh, and he belts. What was that he kicked onto the floor just
Well,
then?
that was, I think, a cheerleader's cushion.
I'm glad it wasn't a cheerleader.
Well, it was one of his own cheerleaders, so that's okay. You're allowed to kick your own cheerleader's cushion. It's in the NCAA rulebook. Meanwhile, the ball is just now coming back onto the court as we see Kansas State moved ahead of DePaul by 4 in the second half.
It was like a home run ball. The guy in the stands did not want to give that one up. Jimmy?
Pretty good heave to get it back out there, too, because while Morris made it to row 30, the ball was in row 60. Oh, King off the glass.
Stacey King catching the ball in the air and in one motion, banking it in.
62-45, Oklahoma lead. 15 minutes to go. Another turnover. And the third foul on Chris Morris. 14:57 to go. Oklahoma 62-45 from the Omni in Atlanta. Tim Ryan and Curry Kirkpatrick at the Omni in Atlanta. Oklahoma in control of Auburn, and certainly the story of the game, this young man, number 34, not for what he's done, but for what he hasn't done, Curry.
Tim, Chris Moore's glowering, sulking, not too happy with the way the game's going, obviously. Sonny Smith said the other day this kid has had better potential than Chuck Person and Charles Barkley for 4 years. There ain't no potential to him anymore, but today you wonder.
36 points against Bradley, but nothing but foul problems today. Grace drives the distance.
And Moore didn't even challenge that layup.
Morris with 3 personal fouls. He left early in the game with 2 and no points. Sat out the rest of the first half. And Morris cut to the lane, a pass behind him. Martin trying to save the ball, wound up straddling the media desk to our left here.
Tim, Auburn completely out of sync. Morris just loping along, looking disgruntled, looking disappointed. He's not in the game at all.
Watch Martin here trying to save the ball.
But not in time. I think his foot was on the line. Jody Sylvester with the call.
Yeah, but he gets about an 8.2 for the dive over the table there. Good effort by Martin. 14:30 to go. And they're now a frustrated Tiger team. This is Moore inside. Shut off by Martin, who picks up the foul. Moore will go to the line. First foul on Martin. Moore in the first half, 7 of 7 from the free throw line, but only 2 of 12 from the field.
Tim, I think it's interesting that Billy Tubbs, as this season has gone along, especially in the second half, has used his junior college transfers more and more. He kept saying all year, we're very deep, and then he wouldn't put his second stringers in because he wanted to run up the 120 and 130-point scores. But in the second part of the season, he has played them, and it's going to pay off in this tournament.
I saw Derek Dennison come in for the Tigers. Howard goes out. So Lynn and Dennison will be the Tiger guards. And Moore makes a pair. 64-47. 16 points for Jeff Moore. King over Moore. Second personal foul against Moore. And Stacey King goes to the line. Well, his top-seeded Oklahoma team seeded to make the Final Four.
There we got a little glimpse of the rat tail on Stacey King. Ooh, that's a neat one. I like that. What do you think, Tim? You think we should get that haircut or what?
I don't know. I'm just not sure it's my style. I'm afraid if I cut it off going up from the ears, afraid to find nothing underneath there. I tell you, that's a problem. 66-47 with 14 minutes remaining.
Tim, I think Auburn needs some threes. They need some points to get back very quickly here.
Well, there's Morris.
That'll help.
Showing what he can do. 5 points for him. He has a three-pointer in that basket, and that's all. Anthony Martin. Blaylock.
Oh, another steal by Mookie. Tim, by our count, he's 6 steals away from an NCAA record for season steals.
Traveling call against Martin. 70-49, and look what North Carolina is doing to Loyola. Kansas State in a battle there with DePaul, only a 4-point margin.
Boy, Tim, even the big guys on Oklahoma, such quick hands, such instincts for the ball. Do not tell me anymore that this team does not play defense. I think they're going to be trouble for anybody in this tournament.
Lynn for Jeff Moore. Basket will count, and Moore will go to the line as the foul is on Seeger.
Nice pass by Johnny Lynn in here. Jeff Moore up with it.
Jeff Moore with 18 points leading the way for Auburn.
Tim, as we said, if this arena was an Auburn-oriented crowd, Oklahoma has taken the crowd out of the game long before this, and I think Chris Morris' ineffectiveness was a big part of that. Oklahoma just rolling it up. Seeger a few minutes ago falling to the floor and laughing. There we see Stacey King giving the windmill high five. That's a new high five, I think.
26 points for Stacey King, Curry. And the Sooners rolling on offense, and their good defense having an awful lot to do with it. So we're going to leave you from here with a 20-point lead for Oklahoma. Let's take you to Jim Nance at our studio in New York. We welcome you back to the Omni in Atlanta. Those of you who left us a while ago, not much has changed. 86-69. The score has changed. The margin about the same. 5:41 to go. The number 1 seeded Sooners are now in full command of the Auburn Tigers, as they have been since late in the first half. Tim Ryan and Corey Kirkpatrick here in Atlanta, and the top-seeded Sooners looking very much like a Final Four team, but they've got some roadblocks still ahead of them.
Tim, as we saw, Kansas State is through to the Final 16. Another Big 8 team, much underrated this season, finished 1 game behind Oklahoma in the Big 8, so it looks as if the Big 8 has 2 teams through, with Kansas to come tomorrow.
Well, 7 teams have made it into the Final 16 if we include the Sooners, who appear to be headed there. Well, now we'd like to welcome the rest of you who have just joined us down here at the Omni in Atlanta, Southeast region. Second round action sees Oklahoma with a commanding lead over Auburn, 89-69, 5:21 remaining. Tim Ryan and Curry Kirkpatrick here watching Billy Tubbs and his high-scoring Sooners. Stacey King leading the way, having a big day with 36 points to the moment. And you can see the Sooners have shot 54% from the floor, and perhaps the most significant number on this graphic information, Chris Morris only 11 points. If you did not see the rest of this game, early on he was in foul trouble. There he is on the line. 2 early fouls in the first half. He was benched by Coach Sonny Smith, did not play the rest of the half, and has been unable to get on track here in the second.
Well, Tim, I don't think a kid has had 2 different games in this tournament in a long time than Chris Morris. 36 in the first round, totally dead in the water this afternoon, and foul difficulty all day. He's been moaning and groaning about the officials.
Foul called.
He's been sulking and glum all afternoon, and Auburn needed a big game from him to stay in this game with Oklahoma.
Sonny Smith has to be very disappointed with this performance, and particularly the fact that Morris, in effect, took himself out of the game so early. Even though he was benched by his coach, the fact that he got the 2 quick fouls, he was counting on Morris having at least a game approaching what he did against Bradley. He needed him to have that kind of a game to compete with Oklahoma. So in the Southeast region, if you advance Oklahoma to the Sweet 16, coming up later will be Louisville and BYU from Atlanta. And Oklahoma certainly has looked awesome here against Auburn. Auburn with a good victory over Bradley, despite those 44 points by Hersey Hawkins. Player of the year in college basketball. Auburn prevailing and just not having it here today.
Tim, the only thing that can possibly disturb Billy Tubbs today is he's got 91 with about 5 minutes to go. He's going to get his 100, but of course Loyola Marymount with 119 in the first round. North Carolina with 123 today against Loyola Marymount. Tubbs loves those 100-point games, and I think he's got to be green with envy he's not up in those numbers.
Well, he's got 18 of them for the season, heading for number 19, it would appear. The timeout on the floor, 4:55 remaining. Oklahoma 93-71. And this continues tomorrow here on CBS. Triple header action. Georgetown and Temple will Mark be making whoopee there against Georgetown, Curry?
Oh, Tim. Georgetown Temple. John Thompson against John Chaney. Of course, 2 old friends going way back before they were at these respective schools. It should be a great day. Maryland, of course, against Kentucky. Kentucky going to be playing in Cincinnati, which is virtually a home court for them. And, of course, Seton Hall, a dark horse, against strong Arizona. From her tips of her toes, the top of her head, this is Taylor Tubbs, the Oklahoma coach, Billy Tubbs' daughter. He says she's the best athlete in the family. I think she could have played in this game today.
There's the proud father. I don't suspect there was any nepotism involved at all in her making that cheerleader team, because I've been watching her. She is a good athlete.
Of course, here's the guy, Billy Tubbs, likes to run it up all year. He's been very controversial. I know he said earlier in the season when opposing coaches got on him for running up the score so much, he said, wait a minute, if I call off the dogs, that's against the law. It's called point shaving.
Well, he's got a 20-point margin, and he needs 7 to get to 100. 4:35 remaining.
I'll tell you one thing, Tim. If Billy Tubbs ever gets to the Final Four, and that's 2 weeks, he will be a media celebrity to rival Jim Valvano of North Carolina State back in '83.
Morris collecting his 15th point on that last field goal, making a bit of a rally here, but it's obviously too late for Auburn. This is Howard for 3. King and Moore going for the rebound, and it will be Sooner ball.
You know, Tim, Billy Tubbs, everybody says he looks a little like Jack Nicholson. I don't know about his looks, but he certainly talks like Jack Nicholson. He's got that droll whine, that dry sense of humor. And, of course, a lot of people think he is the one that flew over the cuckoo's nest.
He's an entertaining guy. He really speaks his mind.
And he does love to roll it up. I mean, this is no joke. He would love to get 150 on this team.
King missing. Morris rebounding, and a nice feed there for Howard.
Tim, Oklahoma was up on Texas A&M early in the season by 31 points. Tubbs got thrown out of the game for disputing a call. The guy's up 31, and the referee threw him out.
Well, here's some of the other action earlier today. How about Rhode Island? 97-94 over tough Syracuse. They are a story, because Murray State's a story still. And Richmond, of course, over Indiana yesterday.
What's the song?
3 upsetters providing the usual excitement in the NCAA tournament. Duke over SMU and Michigan. Look at this. There's a 100-point day. The Big Ten team over Florida. And Purdue, another Big Ten 100-pointer. 71%. But
and look at this
number,
shooting.
huh? An NCAA record, 79% from the field for the Tar Heels.
And it does this heart good, I'll tell you that. And J.R. Reed only had 19 of that 123. Of course, 79% shooting. I'll bet it wasn't as if they were shooting three-pointers, though, against that Loyola defense.
K-State over to Paul. Another steal by the Sooners, and Blaylock
Tim, by our count, Mookie Blaylock is now 5 assists from an NCAA season record.
5 steals.
5 steals, excuse me. Set by Aldwin Hale of Florida A&M. Excuse me, Aldwin Ware of Florida A&M. I don't know where I was, by the way.
Morris with a three-pointer. So Chris Morris cranking it up now. But it's a 20-point game. Mullins.
You will, of course, note that Oklahoma has 4 starters still in this game. And there's a century, and it was made by Auburn, which tipped it in the Oklahoma basket.
Grant gets credit for it. 8 points on the day. Grant rebounding at his end. There's a forward pass. Knocked out of bounds by Lynn.
So let's see who really tips this ball in. Here's King with the short little scooper. Oklahoma hand goes on to it. Oh, I think maybe Mullins got it.
Well, it was credited to Grant. Nonetheless, it's 2 for Oklahoma. Got him to the 100 mark. This one rebounded by Moore. Howard feeding Carpenter. Carpenter, nice drive and basket. 4 points for Keenan Carpenter from Rutherfordton, North Carolina.
Tim, the Sooners dropped by 21. What is the reason that King, Grant, Grayson, Blaylock are still in the game? Now, seriously, what if Mookie right here slips over the line, falls down, and breaks his knee?
You're going to have to ask Tubbs that question.
You know what he'd say? He'd say, we're out here to kill and crush. You beat the other guys bad, you do them a favor, because it shows them what they got to do to improve.
Going to be Auburn inbounding. And the steal. Mullins. And Grace is fouled by Morris, I believe. And that is 5 for Morris, and so he is gone. It has been a difficult day, although he did wind up with 17 points. They, in effect, were meaningless. Tough day for Chris Morris after 36 against Bradley in the opening round game. 1:46 to play. Oklahoma 100-79. We'll be back.
First-time NCAA team yesterday against UTEP. There's some question, Tim, of course, whether the Arizona center Tom Tolbert will be completely healthy for that game. He's a key player.
Well, here's the rest of the triple header action. Maryland and Kentucky, Georgetown at Temple. Everybody looking forward to that one. Certainly fans of Eastern basketball. It all starts at 11 p.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 12 o'clock noon on the East Coast.
Well, if Mark Macon ever is going to prove his worth against tenacious defense, it's tomorrow afternoon against Georgetown. They will send everybody at Mark Macon.
Lynn hit the three-pointer, and Auburn took timeout. 102-82 with 1:38 to go. And we'll be back here at the Omni in just a moment. Well, that's the story here in Atlanta with 1:38 to go. Oklahoma on their way to the Sweet 16. Quick look at the Midwest region at Notre Dame. Purdue over Memphis State. Kansas State over DePaul. How much do you like Purdue?
Well, Timmy, Purdue's Gene Cady right there in the next round will face his old school, his alma mater, Kansas State, where he was a football player. So that's an interesting matchup. Purdue on an amazing roll here in the NCAA. He got over the second round hump, and they're ready.
So the Sooners about to wind things up here in Atlanta and head on to Birmingham. They'll meet the winner of BYU and Louisville, the next game to be played here in Atlanta today. Grace.
Okay, how many starters we have out? Still the 4. Run it up, Billy.
Lynn. Good follow by Moore, and another timeout call.
Is that Boone for the timeout?
Yeah.
I think this crowd wants to get to the next one here, Louisville and Brigham Young.
Smith took the timeout and prolonging the agony at this point. They got one left. At Hartford, you can see Temple and Georgetown set up to meet each other tomorrow. And Georgia Tech and Richmond with their stunning upset of Indiana.
Of course, Tim, that is their revenge game for Georgia Tech, which lost to Richmond on this very court in Atlanta earlier in the season.
I'm sure Bobby Krim is looking forward to that return match. And at Chapel Hill, Rhode Island with their big upset of Syracuse, Duke over SMU, and now they'll move on to the Meadowlands into the Sweet 16, and Rhode Island certainly one of the really exciting stories of the tournament thus far. Tom Penner's done a great job there.
Of course, most of the state of Rhode Island can probably fit into the Meadowlands. And Tom Penders today, I thought, a great moment, blowing kisses to the crowd. Of course, Tom Garrick's father, the blind gentleman, looking on and seeing the whole game.
Lynn hitting for 3 for Auburn. They're getting the most out of this tank of gas, whatever's left in there. Grace to Grant for the Sooners. Pollard outside now for Oklahoma. Art Pollard, a junior guard from East Chicago, getting some time.
Of course, Tubbs still has King, Grace, and Grant in the game. Blowing it open, 104 already.
Pollard with Mike Bell, the only non-starters, a junior forward from Montgomery.
Tim, Billy has kidded all year about, we like to run the wishbone at Oklahoma, just like the football team. Everybody likes to run, and none of our guys like to pass. But I want to say something about Oklahoma's passing. They are as good a passing team as I've seen all season. Brigham Young gets a lot of attention for their passing, but in Blaylock and Grace, they can really get the ball up the court, and they're unselfish, unlike a lot of other Oklahoma teams in the past.
King about to get 38 points on the day. He has just been terrific, to say the least. Carpenter driving, blocked from behind by Bell. Stacey King's score 37 points, not 38.
Tim, we saw Dave Seeger earlier, who's been out of the game a while. He's the only starter that's been sitting down. In the game against Oklahoma State this season earlier, he had 8 3-point shots, Billy Tubbs sent him back into the game to get his 9th. The kid took a turnaround jump shot from 3-point range.
Harvey Grant just missed the 3, but he moved the score to 107-87. To Bell.
Hilton Bell, the helicopter.
Traveling called.
We call this kid the helicopter, and you saw the reason why right there.
As in Bell Helicopters. He didn't get it, though. He traveled, so no points. And that's it. The scoring machine of the Oklahoma Sooners, just too much for Auburn today. Auburn sticking close to part of the first half, despite Chris Morris being on the bench with 2 fouls, but Oklahoma rolls on to Birmingham. And so for Corey Kirkpatrick, this is Tim Ryan saying so long from the Omni. Coverage of NCAA basketball is a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the NCAA championship.